you essentially relied on the defendant's mechanic's capacity to find, repair, and ultimately sell cars that the two of you expected to share in the profits of the sale. And you were going to put up the purchase money. You were going to put up repair money, whatever was needed with respect to the cars. Is that correct?
Correct.
You found your first car, a 2001 BMW X5 sport vehicle, in November, and you entered into a written contract with respect to that. It's Exhibit B. It says James Douglas McCune loaned Christopher Rawlins $1,500 for the purchase of a 2001 BMW X5 and possible repairs of $300. Upon the sale of the vehicle, James McCune is to be paid back the full amount of $1,500. The profit of the vehicle is to then be split 50-50 with the understanding that Chris Rawlins' share goes to satisfy the loan of the Atlas lift, which was $1,600, signed by both of you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What would have happened if you didn't get any profit?
If I didn't get any profit?
Yeah. What happens to the $1,600 loan?
He was going to pay me.
It's not in the contract. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say he still owes me the $1,600 if we don't get any profit, but it's not in the contract, right? So here's what happens. You identify a car, the BMW, you tell the plaintiff it's a good buy, right? You thought it was at least.
Yes.
And you start working on it. You're working on it and working on it, and each time you get a little deeper into it, you find more and more that's wrong with it. How much did you pay for the car?
The purchase of the vehicle was $1,200, then $300 in initial parts.
And you paid him the $1,200 to buy the car, and you gave him $300 for parts, but then he asked you later on for $900 worth of additional parts. Am I right?
In different stages,
Yeah.
all paid with cash.
$2,400 now that you're into for the purchase of this car.
Correct.
And then there comes a time you're still working on the car and you discover additional problems with the car. You claim you were ready, willing, and able to go forward with the contract to give the defendant more money to make the additional repairs, and he didn't do that. Instead, he gave up on the deal and says, this is getting out of hand, and he wants to give you the car back.
That's correct.
And he wants that to be the settlement of this whole business venture that you went into. On the other hand, your position is, you kept working on the car and there was more repairs to be done. You asked the plaintiff for the money. He didn't give it to you, so he breached the contract. And now you're countersuing him for the labor that you put into preparing the car. Is that correct?
Correct.
Although there's nothing in the written agreement with respect to that, is there?
Correct.
Okay.
There isn't.
Judge DeWalda.
How much more would it have cost Mr. Rawlins, the plaintiff, to fix the bent valves?
Yes, it probably would have cost another $500-700, somewhere around there.
Because it was your idea to get the BMW.
Well, we both agreed on it.
Well,
yes.
you brought it to his attention.
I did bring it to his attention.
He was kind of hesitant, like, hey, first, I need you to pay me back for the car lift. Is that right?
That's correct.
Because at that point, he had given you $1,200 to buy a car lift that you needed to make repairing cars easier.
Correct.
And then you found something online, a BMW, that you thought would have been a good first car flip. You suggested it to him. Again, he was hesitant, but ultimately he agreed to purchase this BMW. He gave you money for that, and the plan was for you to fix it up before selling it.
Yes.
But then, time and time again, you'd find more issues with it.
Unfortunately.
You asked the plaintiff for more money. He provided it. I think the last thing you asked him to buy was a car battery.
Correct.
He bought the battery, and then you realized the car's still not starting because there's this bigger issue.
Yes. However, before I bought the car battery, the plaintiff had already told me that he was at a stopping point with any more money going forward.
You have proof of that?
It was a verbal conversation when I was at his house.
Is that true?
Yes, I said I was tapped out. I basically dug down deep to get the money for the battery just because I wanted to be just done with all of this.
But when he told you about the bent valves, what was your response?
He said it required pulling the motor and all this, and at that point I knew we were way upside down in it, that his initial assessment was off. I didn't want to get the car. I told him, before you go and check it out, make sure you're 100% sure that this is an easy flip for us. This is our first flip, and so that way we're not getting a money pit here, and that's exactly what it turned into.